Here, and today I am going to look for you at Mansions of Madness expansion, Streets of Arkham. This is the first expansion for the second edition, and I am very excited for that. It comes with 3 new scenarios to play for you, 4 new characters and new monsters that you are going to encounter. I'm first, of course, just going to show you all the goodies that come in this box, and then I'm going to talk about all the different scenarios and if I thought they were any fun. So let's start. In the Mansion of Madness Streets of Arkham expansion, you are of course going to get a lot of stuff. First of all, you are going to get the tiles for the 3 new scenarios. Also, this new big ass tile I'm just going to show you very quickly, so you cannot really see what's on there. But you have, as you can see, a lot of tiles that can also maybe appear in some of the other scenarios to mix it up a little bit. Besides that, we have 7 new monsters. They are here. First of all, of course, I'm going to show you the big bad guy. I painted it right here. His name is Igor, or Ligor. I'm going to go with Ligor. And yeah, he's pretty badass, And then we have the 2 star vampires. They have these big gaping mouths. And cool. And then we have 2 skeletons, pretty generic. 2 skeletons. And we also have 2 hired gunmen that are hopefully not going to shoot at you. So those are the 7 new monsters that you're going to get. Besides that, of course, you are going to get some new persons that you are allowed to play with. And those are going to be 2 girls and 2 men that you can play with. I'm going to show the cards, of course, to you. First of all, we have Finn Edwards. Where are you, Finn? You are right here. This is Finn. He has, as you can see, he has a bottle in his hand and a rope. He is the bootlegger, and his power is that once per round he can move 1 space before or after performing a search action. So with him you want to perform a lot of search actions. Then we have Diana Stanley. She is the reformed cultist. So she was a cultist once, so never trust a person that plays with Diana. Her power is that when she gets 2 or more horror, she gets 1 less horror instead. So even though she only has 6, she shrugs the other one off. Saw that before, it doesn't matter. So that is Diana. She has a knife in her hand and also a little candle. So that is Diana. Then we have Marie Lambois. She is the performer, the entertainer. I gave her a golden dress because of that, and she has like this boa. And at the start of your turn, she can cast a spell without spending an action, so that's also pretty powerful, pretty cool. And then we have Tommy Muldoon, the rookie cop. He has this cop outfit, as you can see, and a gun in his hand. And he gets a special item at the start of the game. So those are the new characters that you are going to get in this expansion. Besides that, of course you have some new cards. I just put them already in my normal deck. You are going to have some new unique items, some new normal items, some new I already noticed when playing them. Much new characters that you are going to see in your game, some new persons that you are allowed to talk to, and some new other items. What is the new thing that this expansion introduces? That is going to be the fact that you can upgrade your skills. So how is this going to work? Sometimes the scenario says that you are allowed to upgrade 1 specific one, and when you do that you are going to get the token corresponding to the power or the skill that you are allowed to upgrade. So because all these tokens are the same as your skills. You also have the other thing is going to be elixirs. They work pretty much the same as spells, and they also, when you have them, you are allowed to increase one of your skills, but you also have to flip them, and then bad stuff probably happens. So that is the main thing that this game introduces, or this expansion introduces. Besides that, there is a new puzzle in the app. I'm going to show you just here. That is going to be the tower puzzle. And with that, most of the people probably already know it. It's the thing where you have to stack from the biggest piece of wood to the smallest piece of wood, and you're not allowed to put a smaller piece of wood beneath a bigger piece of wood. So you have to get it from this starting scenario to one big tower like that, and then you solve the puzzle. So that is all the new stuff this scenario introduces, or this expansion introduces, besides the 3 new scenarios that you are allowed to play with this new expansion. Arkham is really a fun expansion. I think of the big box expansions that they brought out, it's the first expansion that came out for the 2nd edition. The other ones that they brought out were refurbished ones that they already had for the 1st edition. And so this is the first one that they really made new for 2nd edition. And I think it's really cool. And the other expansions are only going to give you, I think, 1 or 2 scenarios. So this is already right off the bat a better worth bang for your buck, because you're going to get 3 new scenarios with this game. And those scenarios are very cool. You have, first of all, the one in the museum, where strange things are happening, people are dying, and there's an artifact, and you have to figure out what artifact is causing this. And in this scenario, you have the scenario at the start of the introduction. It already says that you have to use pencil and paper, and I'm not going to tell you anything else. But it's just a very fun scenario. And this is the first scenario also that I finished within the time frame that Fantasy Flight put out for the scenario, because until now I've just noticed that all those time frames that they put down there, the estimated times, they're just complete lies. I played the first scenario 6 times, and it says 90 to 120 minutes, I think. And that's just such a lie. I think that scenario, the shortest that I played was 3 hours. And the other 2 scenarios in this box, except for the one I just told you about, the museum one, we finished in 3 hours, and that was the upper level of the thing that they set as estimated time. So it still barely makes it. But those other 2 scenarios, they just went so over the time. So that's just something that you still have to think about when you want to try one of the scenarios. You just have to at least put 1 extra hour onto the estimated time, because otherwise you're just going to be disappointed if you want to cram it in too less of a time. So the first one, that's the museum one. They introduced the pen and pencil, where you had to write stuff down to, so it's more of a mystery. There were less monsters in it, but I really, really liked the scenario. It was a little bit of a deduction, so what artifact was causing everything. And I really like deduction themed puzzles. So I had very much fun with the Miskatonic, I think it's Miskatonic Museum scenario. I really loved it. Maybe for people that don't really like the combat in Massive Madness, it's a scenario that's a little less for you. But I really liked it. And it was a little bit different, and they did a little less of the combat and just tried to see what they could do with this game. So I really like that one. Then you have the one that's in the university. That one was pretty brutal. It was a pretty hard one. We haven't won it yet, but I also really liked it. All of the scenarios, all 3 of them, have really beautiful the scenery, and the stories that they tell are very good. So it was also with the university one. I really liked it. It was a fun one, but we haven't won it yet because it's pretty difficult one. And then you have the one with the street gangs. 2 rivaling gangs are in war with each other, and you have to figure out what happened, because one person was killed, and now just strange things are happening. And this one was I think like the biggest one, because the other one was in the museum, so it was a pretty big museum, and also the university, the whole campus. But in this one, you had like this whole town and streets and all these different shops that you could go to, and after a certain time something happened and you were transported to another part of the city. So that was also the longest scenario, and I really liked that scenario because there were a lot of people that you had to talk to, and I always like it when I have to make a choice what I'm going to say to that person, and you had to figure out a lot of stuff, and there were certain things that were triggered that were pretty exciting, there was a lot going on, and it was very interesting to go to all these different places and just figure out the story, and that also the scenery also changed midway through the game. And there was a lot more, also a little bit more fighting in this one, but I think really the one that like was in the university was the most brutal one, but maybe we just did something wrong. It was possible. So I really liked all those 3 scenarios. They are pretty great, and like I said, this is the only big box expansion that gives you 3 new scenarios to play with. So if you just want more scenarios, this one is the one you want to get. So now those new characters, they were very cool. I really liked them. Also the new monsters were very cool. Like you could see, I already painted them. They were very very fun to paint. I just think, it's a really great expansion. I hope they come out with more of them, and also they're like with the last one, that the like scenario that was like in the museum and did it a little bit differently with like the pen and pencil. I just hope that they're going to explore more in this Mansions of Madness universe, all the things that are possible within this format. Also, you had like the new thing with the improving skills. Yeah, it was there. It was fun. Didn't really add that much. Just added a little bit. But I don't think you really had to have to buy this expansion for the sake of trying that new thingy out, because that wasn't that really interesting. You really have to get this expansion for the new scenarios, and also because of the variety it is going to give to the other scenarios, the monsters that are going to appear in the other scenarios that you already have, and in the also the tiles and stuff like that. So all in all, I really like this expansion. It is going to give you the most scenarios of all the expansions until now, and just a lot of monsters and other tiles that you can use in all the other scenarios. So that's really great. It offers some variety with the new upgrade or improve rule. That is pretty cool, but doesn't really change the game that much. And the scenarios are just excellent, really, really cool, thought out, and they are just a blast to play. So that is going to be the new expansion for Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, Streets of Arkham.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.